Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. Ooh, that sun is bright. Glad I got my sunglasses on. So today we're gonna go back into the pond prowler a little bit. So I told you guys that I was gonna do a video about how I set it up for a tournament when I have all my stuff in it, stuff like that. So we are gonna get into that. So if you guys have any suggestions on videos or content that you would like to see, please make sure you comment, make sure you reach out and let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll do my best to get that content out. I know that a lot of people really want to see on the water footage. I can't wait to start doing on the water footage. I just have to get a better camera set up to be able to do that. I also need to set up, you know, extra batteries, extra charging, stuff like that, because a lot of what I do is on my phone right now. So but we'll get to that later on. I promise there will be on the water and tournament footage that will be coming out as well. So but without further ado, let's get into the pond prowler tournament rig part number 2. So I will be right back and we will get into it. All right, guys, here we are again, back at the pond prowler. So I had some people wanting to see kind of how I rig it, how I set it up. I know I explained some in the video of how it worked, but I went ahead and I put everything in there that I would have for a tournament. So this will give you a good idea of what my tournament rig is, what I go out and compete in with this little boat, and it'll give you a good idea of just how much you can fit in an 8-foot boat. So first off, we already talked about trolling motor, graph, and all that. So here's what I was saying in the last video. Sorry, it's a little bit dirty. I need to clean it out. It's got leaves and stuff in it. But here's what I was saying about the rods. And this is actually less rods than I usually carry. I usually carry 8 rods, 4 on each side. And I could carry 5 technically, but it gets a little bit tight with that. But as you can see, I have 3 rods on each side. They run the length of the boat, and it keeps them nice and out of my way. So I still have all my floor space, which is wonderful. Same on the other side. Let me walk around. Same on the other side. So with these little dividers, I just fit 4 rods, which right now I have 3, but 4 rods on each side. They slide in there and then they run the length of the boat. It keeps them over here nice and out of the way and gives me plenty of space to store rods and not get tangled up, and still have plenty of floor space to be able to work with. Floor space is very important when you're fishing small vessel because you have to measure your fish. You're not throwing your fish in a live well or anything like that. So what you do is, of course, like I have my measuring board, pull it out. So I typically keep my measuring board just like that. I like to have my measuring board at an angle. When measuring the fish, it pushes the fish forward, keeps his mouth closed, because for the pictures you have to have his mouth closed. And then of course you get your identifier tag and all that in there. But that gives me plenty of space to be able to measure a fish. And what I normally do now is I put my phone on the camera and I just clip it in this. So I'll clip it in that little phone mount, and it's there. I get my fish set up on the board. Sorry, that was in the way. Get my fish set up on the board. Once I get him settled, get him lined up like I want him to, I just pop my phone out of the mount, snap my picture. I always double check, make sure my picture's good, throw the fish back, and you're good to go. So plenty of space for that. When it comes to tackle storage, let me get on this side so the sun's not super bright. So like I said, I have this basket right here, and currently I have these plano boxes that I store in this basket, and I have a lot of soft plastics in these. I am actually about to switch over to a little bit different setup, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. But this is a great option for storing tackle. I can store terminal tackle, I can store jigs, I can store soft plastics, I can store anything I want to in that basket, which is great. So then under my butt, so here's my seat. Under my butt, I have my spinnerbait box. I also have some chatterbaits, bladed jigs in there. Sorry, my battery's dying. I also have some of my what is that? Spike It dye in there that I like to use certain times of the year, certain things. And I also keep my buzz baits in there too, because I don't carry very many buzz baits with me, but I have, you know, the 2 or 3 that I typically like to carry. So that's easy enough right there. This right here is my cooler bag. So that is what I keep drinks, water, Gatorades, Powerades, energy drinks, Monster, Red Bull, whatever I want in that bag. And I have me a couple cooler packs that I keep in there. Keeps my drinks cold all day. It's small, not bulky like a regular cooler, and keeps me hydrated all day. So that's nice to have. And then underneath me right here, which is really easy access, I have another bag right here. This is full of a lot of my go-to soft plastics that I have. So this is just a little, I can't even remember what brand it is. Field Line. So I don't know, I've never heard of that brand, but anyway, it's basically a range bag. It's a range bag for, you know, if you're going to go to the shooting range, you can carry ammunition, you can carry pistol in it, whatever, gun cleaning supplies. But I turned it into soft plastic storage. So I have a ton of bags of soft plastics in this. I also have a small plano box stuck down in here with some of my lipless crankbaits, a few square bills, things like that. I don't really crankbait fish that much, but I do like to have a good selection of them with me just in case I run into a situation. So that's kind of nice. So that's where I store that. And then I have this main tackle bag. So this is where I keep all of my terminal tackle. So there's hooks, weights, swivels, all kind jig heads, all kinds of stuff in there. I have more soft plastics, which I am trying to get away from storing soft plastics in these boxes. I like the setup, but I don't like what it does to the boxes. I don't know if you can see that. They're warped and stuff like that. So I'm working on coming up with better ideas for that. Here's another one with mixed. This was actually a box that I set up for a specific tournament, and it had all the baits that I thought I might use during that tournament. So that's just kind of a all-around box. Then in here, I have jigs, I have top water, I have all kinds of stuff. It's kind of unorganized right now because I'm trying to come up with a different setup for this, but I have my frogs in there, different stuff like that, extra treble hooks, things like that. So I can store a lot in that tackle bag. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of just how much you can fit in this little boat. And I definitely feel like once I get things a little more organized, I'm able to do a little bit different setup for my soft plastics, I will actually have a ton more storage with that basket because I'll be able to store a ton of stuff in there. So, but anyway, hopefully this gives you a good idea of how I kind of have it set up. And then what's nice about this little front deck right here, chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, buzzbaits, whatever, when I don't really want to stick them back in the box wet, I don't have any kind of system to keep those boxes from collecting moisture. So what I do throughout the day, if I, you know, take a bait off and retie, I just kind of hang them right here on this front little deck, and they come right off after they're dry. I can put them back in the box, but it's just kind of a quick place to store them. So I also have my few little tools up here. I got my wacky rig, which I need to put more O-rings on. I have my little braid cutters, some little small needle nose pliers. So I have my scale over there. So yeah, anyway, there's the tournament setup. So it just goes to show, oh, I don't think I mentioned this either, I typically keep my net just right back here. It makes it pretty quick to get. And I also keep a little emergency paddle right here because I'm using trolling motor and my batteries last a good long while. So that's basically for emergencies only. But yeah, so there's the setup. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of just how much stuff you can fit inside of the Bass Pro Shops Pond Prowler 8. Well guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, leave comments if you have any questions about it. And always reach out to me if you have any suggestions or anything like that. So thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.